One of the most important and yet difficult ideas that a person can attempt to understand and assimilate is that other people are really, truly, precisely as real as I am to myself and are as central to themselves as I am to myself. In theory, most would grant that. Unless somebody is a so called solipsist and says that no, only I exist, a completely untenable position, a person would intellectually grant, I guess, other people do exist. But to really understand, to really accept, and to really live out the idea that other people are precisely and entirely 100% as real as am I, and have their own all encompassing lives, as do I, and have their own all important interests, as do I, and so on, is very, very difficult. Why? Of course, because each person is self centered, each person is a center to him or herself. And yet, that in itself probably is not sufficient to explain the difficulty of granting the reality of other people. Again, not just intellectually, but living like that. I, each person that I encounter, treating them as, again, myself in a different form, in the sense of being all encompassing, in the sense of being all important to themselves, in the sense of being a subject and a center to him or herself. Probably one of the main blocks, too. Being able to really realize this in our life is that that is one of, if not the ultimate threats to our self centeredness, and more particularly to our attempts to absolutize our particular personhood, our particular self. Meaning, we say that one way perhaps that's empirically accurate to describe the human situation is that each individual is a kind of amalgamation, however it's pronounced, a kind of combination of a whole, right, and at the same time of a part. Meaning, on the one hand, as again, a subject, as a life, I'm centered to myself, can't imagine anything outside of myself in that way. But as a part, clearly I'm just a part. I have a birth date and a death date, hopefully not too soon, but all the same. Again, I know that there's many other people just like me, and I'm not the most important person, and so on and so forth. So it's this combination. And the only way to really grant that the same situation is so for others is to de-absolutize oneself, and is to not um, place primary importance on one's parthood. Meaning, to not say that I, as body, as the appearance in the mirror, as such and such fancy schmancy person, or not fancy schmancy, doesn't matter, such and such person, I am, I have some worth, I have some value, I have some place in society, historically, to other people, but I'm not all important. I'm not the absolute. There's no exceptions for me. In order to do that, to truly do that, and without falling into depression, and without should we say, falling into apathy and lethargy and all kinds of things, saying I don't count, I don't matter, nobody cares about me, I'm insignificant, I'm nothing, look at this big wide world and all these people there, and they're doing all this cool stuff, and me, I'm nothing, yada yada. In order to not fall into that, while at the same time not being vain and narcissistic and absolutizing oneself and saying, I am such and such special person. The only real way, it seems, is to sort of ethically evolve to a point of having a good will and being willing to turn away from oneself as a part, right? While still retaining and enjoying the wholeness that each has, courtesy of being a subject, courtesy of being a whole life, to so say. That way, I can, at the same time, not consider myself anything more than what I am. Not say, oh, I'm, again, such and such special person, but without depression, without laziness, because I'm not conceiving myself purely as a part, and I'm simply and solely thinking about how to maximize the good that can come from myself as part, right? From myself as a member of society, as a body, as a neighbor, and so on. So it seems that here the kind of volitional, ideational, meaning concern with ideas shift that needs to occur to really truly grant other people reality is to not conceive myself as strictly and solely just another such grain of sand. Because if I do, then there's just no way that I can grant that other people are equally as real and important as am I. I'm just going to be swamped. I'm going to drown in depression, in a sea of insignificance in my mind. And that's why there's a protective mechanism of thinking, yeah, there's other people, but they're not me. Come on. They're not as important as am I. Their talents are not like mine. Right? They're whatever it might be. Their looks are not like mine. Their intelligence is not like mine. All that kind of vanity. It's a protective mechanism. If, however, I reorient myself and I say that my loyalties lie with the whole, my loyalties lie with reality such as is above and beyond my parthood, my psychology, my looks, my body, this and that. And consequently, then I can grant that, of course, other people are in the same predicament. And I'm simply thinking about how to maximize and best utilize myself in the capacity of a part, to maximize that as much as is possible. So it can be thought about. Thank you for listening.